Guys for joining us. Thank you all for sharing the links and opportunities to work together. Everybody should write down Emily Nichols' name as a grant writer. Shout out, everybody needs a grant writer. I know Lauren has helped with many grants too. So lots of good networking to happen today. All right. Welcome, Jason, from our South Coast UC team. All right. So we're going to hop into things today. Our special intention for this call to share, develop, elevate, and promote resources, expertise, and best practices across the California Farm to School movement and to celebrate Farm to School Month. We always say that California is so lucky that we have Farm to School all over the place and a really, really rich history of Farm to School. So today it will really be front and center. All right, so here's the agenda. We're going to do hi, Mandy, welcome. Our Ag in the Classroom partners, thank you so much for joining. Our agenda today, we're going to do a really quick history lesson. I have to do it because whenever we celebrate something, we have to look back at how it was made possible. Then how CDFA is celebrating Farm to School Month. Then our Farm to School Month presentation, celebrations, and inspiration. Pilar, Lance, and Melanie will share as part of our panel, and then partnership and funding opportunities we always use as a wrap. So that's our plan today. We should be out of here in under 1 hour. How's that? That's a deal. That's a deal for everyone. Hi, Abby, welcome. Okay, so here's how far we've come. I have to start with this. I started in December of 2018, limited term, 24-month employee at the Department of Food and Agriculture. And I always like to start with this because that was not long ago that our state agency didn't even know what was going to happen. 24 months. In my first month, we lost 12 months of funding. So the 24-month position went to a 12-month position. And I was very lucky to go on meet with so many, I put school and community partners leading the way, to go on a statewide listening tour and meet so many of you that are on the call today and other organizations that are not here. But I was amazed at what was happening all over the state. Everywhere I went, whether it was San Diego or along the coast or up the coast, I tried to go 3 different times to see Aaron Durden Little in Humboldt County Office of Ed and was knocked out by the weather each time. But there were projects happening everywhere. And I had no idea how amazing it was. I was a school garden teacher before. And so to see this growth and then start to learn about the school nutrition work. Oh my gosh, I was like, this is like Game of Thrones in here. People are fighting. They got to stand up for their programs. They have to do budget fights and rotate through different staff. And we have new administration and new school board. I got to convince them that this matters too. And to see that level of work and commitment all over the state, it was so inspiring. And now the programs have just grown to such a huge amount. And organizations like the Community Alliance with Family Farmers, CAF, Snaps for the CAF team, they're all on retreat today. Center for Eco Literacy, Life Lab, Edible Schoolyard, so many of these organizations, the Sage Garden Project, Ag in the Classroom, so many of these organizations carried this baton for so long. And they laid the foundation for all of the work that we're able to do now. And then also our partner agencies at the state agency level. It's not just CDFA, we're lucky enough to host this program now, but all these different state agencies, when you go through the timeline, you can see CDE, CDSS, Labor and Workforce Development, the community colleges, Department of Public Health, everybody, whether it's state agency or local level, has come together to really build this program into what it is now. When I started, it was, a CAF login to what's the network website again? Just so many great things have happened, and I want to highlight that because we know that the SNAP benefits are not coming back November 1st, and we're all concerned with that. We're very lucky to be in California where at least the governor is mobilizing resources, but we know that any of these wins have to be protected too, and any progress has to be protected, and the only way to do that is with a really strong coalition and network like we have. So I'm very, very grateful for all of you for being here. This is how far we come from a 12-month limited term role in state government, praying that something will happen, to universal school meals, first state in the nation, kitchen infrastructure and training funds for the schools, $100 million for school food best practices. Our grant program has distributed $100 million. We have 16 regional staff. Through our partnerships, we were able to distribute 23 million for local food for schools. I think it's 43 million for a healthy school food apprenticeship program for the next generation of school food service leaders. This Farm to CACFP coalition, Julie's on the call, I saw, and I think Maddie's on the call too from CDSS. There are and for the CDSS team, please put those in the chat, links to that coalition in the chat if you haven't already. There's just so many amazing ways that this work continues to grow. And at the state level, we're always catching up to what you guys are already doing on the ground. So partners are advocating for scratch cooking programs, organic school food procurement. The California Crunch, the School Nutrition Association, just started their Farm to School Committee, which is an amazing opportunity for our school nutrition professionals to get additional resources through that network. It's amazing. And then everyone on the call today is a farm to school champion in their community. And I think we're at this point in the movement where we're growing from individuals leading the charge in their community to now this bigger network. And each day, each little introduction in the chat, each email follow-up, each conversation with our regional staff, each event that we host, each network call, this circle just grows and grows. So I'm so, so grateful for all of you guys for joining today. Right now we have, how many people on the call? We have 99 people on the call today, and it's only going to keep growing. So thank you guys so much for being here today. Have to say thank you to all of our partners. All right. Then two quick celebrations before we jump into the presentation. The first one is CAF, the Community Alliance with Family Farmers, hosted the California Crunch. If you participated in the Crunch, would love to have you share in the chat or send up a little heart or raise your hand and wave in the reactions to just show how many partners there are. This year in the Crunch, 87 school districts participated, 780,000 students represented, 51% of school districts participated for the first time, and over $176,000 and over 70,000 pounds in procurement went to local growers. And the CAF team said those are conservative estimates. It's probably a lot more. So thank you to everyone who participated this year, especially if you participated for the first time. And I really wanted to shout this out because in California, we're so busy administering the grant and promoting these opportunities that CAF really takes the lead on this statewide effort. And we're so, so happy to be part of it. So if you're interested in participating in the Crunch next year, or if you want to learn more about it, we'd love to have you meet Michelle Duong from CAF. And I have her information right there for you. And we're going to send out these slides in the recording. So you'll have all that. Okay, and then the last thing I believe before we get into our partners is how CDFA is celebrating Farm to School Month. This year we've done weekly planting seeds blog posts on the CDFA webpage, which is really exciting for us to have a weekly highlight. Just, I believe it was this morning, Yucaipa Joint Cali Mesa, Yucaipa Cali Mesa Joint Unify. I can't ever get the order right, but we were able to highlight their effort borrowed from a LinkedIn post. And then we're at the CSNA conference. Half of our team is there celebrating. We are doing 4 presentations on Farm to School, and we have a farmers market block in the expo floor. If you're in Pasadena, we encourage you to go to that side room. There will be a fun farmers market in there with our team. There's been regional events on the North Coast, Sacramento and Pasadena, and then there's ongoing resources and collaboration from our team. So if you want to get involved in sustaining your Farm to School movement, please reach out. All right, that's it from me. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm done talking now. All right, I'm going to hand it now to our presenters. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We have 3 folks sharing today. One is Pilar Gray, Lance Billingsley, and Melanie Cross. And they are examples of some highlights from our Farm to School network and leaders in the Farm to School movement. We have the school nutrition department, we have educators, and then we have a support org to share too, that no matter how you are supporting the Farm to School movement here, there's highlights and resources and inspiration for you. What we'd like to do is use the chat and the reactions to celebrate, ask questions, and engage in conversation. I did not say engage in debate. Our crew here wouldn't do that because it's all 99 people who are choosing to join a Farm to School call. But in the chat, would love to share questions and responses there. I'll help facilitate for our presenters, but I think that's it. The first presenter is Pilar Gray. Pilar's been doing this for, how long do you want to say, Pilar?
I don't know if I want to say. It might
A,
date me.
a foundational leader and inspiration.
21 years.
21 years. Excited to highlight the work that you're doing and give you the opportunity to share it with folks to walk walk the similar path. Okay, and I'll move it forward to and hand it to Pilar.
All right. Well, hello. I'm Pilar Gray. I'm the Director of Nutrition Services for Fort Bragg Unified School District. We are located on the coast of Mendocino County in Northern California. We are rural. We are small. We have about 1,600 students this year. We have basically 4 main school sites and 1 little small alternative site. Every one of our school sites has a school garden. We have been having school gardens since 1990. So Fort Bragg Unified is well practiced at school gardens and farm to school. We've been doing this for decades. And as I mentioned, I'm starting, this is my 21st year doing this. And when I came, I inherited the 2 first school gardens at our elementaries. And in subsequent years, we put one in each of our other sites. So we now, every one of our schools has gardens. All of our kids get to participate. Every one of our elementary students go through garden education classes. In our middle school, we have a farm to table class and an FFA ag feeder program for our high school program. And our high school, 3, 4 ag teachers now working there. So, and all programs lead to the next. So it's a really beautiful way to grow our kids from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, having those ability and opportunity to learn in the garden and to learn about nutrition while working in the garden, which is really important from my perspective. My job is to make sure kids are eating healthy. As we know, fresh fruits and vegetables are the healthiest things we can eat. And I completely, I'm convinced that if you really want kids to eat vegetables, have them grow them. Because if they're involved in the participation and they're getting their hands dirty, they're planting the seeds, they're watering it, they're going through all that, they're going to give it a try. And so that makes my job and my staff's job a lot easier on the cafeteria end for kids to come in and, enjoy the food, and actually eat the vegetables instead of just taking it because they have to and tossing it in the trash. So that's one of my biggest passions about the garden program is I want those kids eating that healthy food. And I used to teach before I did this job. So I'm very, very invested in the educational portion of it. So one of my favorite things that we do is Harvest of the Month. Probably a lot of you are familiar with that. But we've kind of gone off on our own and done our little own sort of program thanks to a previous CDFA grant years ago. We created a video series. And so we have enough for a 3-year cycle and for 9 months. And each video features a different produce item that is grown at one of our local farms. So either here in Mendocino or our neighboring Lake County, but all within driving distance of our schools. And so each month we rotate these through, and our classrooms can show these kids a short little video. It's like, maybe 10, 15 minutes max. And it shows the farm, and it shows them how to grow it, how to eat it, these sorts of things. And then we do taste testing in the classrooms. That's what you'll see on the slide there. At the bottom there, those are grapes from our local Fillagreen Farms, that was a beautiful thing because that was the farm that was actually featured in that video. That doesn't always work out perfectly for me, but when it does, it's really exciting to be able to get the produce directly from the farmer who helped us with the video series. And above that, you see some little kiddos. We're trying figs. They're very excited. Many of them have never tried figs before in their life. So, and there is that, I don't know if you can read it there on the slide, but that address there, the Google address there, that will take you to all those videos. They're there for anybody to use. We're so happy if you want to access them. Or you could just go to our district website, www.fbusd.us, and go navigate yourself to the nutrition services, find Harvest of the Month, and all those videos are there. And we also have support materials for the teachers, educational materials that they can use in the classroom to help guide them on how to do this. So that's one of my favorite things that we do. And again, we try to buy the produce local whenever we possibly can. Doesn't always work out seasonally, but you do what you can. We also, of course, I'm on the cafeteria end, farm to cafeteria. Oh, don't go forward. Go back. You're on the video. the slide back. Thanks. Thanks, Nick. um, so the real one of the exciting things we have here is we have a farm on our high school property. I mean, we have our ag department. They have all this stuff that they grow as well. But we also have a separate farm that's not certified organic, but 100% organic processes. And it is managed by a nonprofit partner, Noyo Food Forest. And they've been with us since 2006. And so their job, their goal primarily is to grow food for our school meals. And this is lovely because our students really get to participate in this. Our ag students go over there and help. We also have interns, paid interns. Sometimes that's funded by donors. Sometimes it's right now we're actually able to fund it through our extended learning opportunity program. So we're able to pay some teenagers to work in this garden to help grow food for their school meals. And it's great because they harvest it and it's literally a short stroll across campus to deliver it to the cafeteria kitchen. So that's my primary go-to for local produce. But then we also source out to other farmers that we can here. Since we are coastal, we don't have a lot of farms, but we do have a couple right here that we work with regularly. And then we have our Mendo Lake Food Hub, who distributes for Mendocino and Lake County, who brings food into us from our local farms. And I've also reached out, Spork Food Hub from all the way out towards Davis has come out as well, when we can fill their truck enough to make it their while to come out here. So let's roll on to the next slide and talk a little bit about what we did with our grant. Because we received, thankfully, yay, the CDFA grant, which is absolutely such a game changer. This is really big for us because one of the things, when you do farm to school for decades, things deteriorate, things break down. And unfortunately, so many grants out there are all for something new. They want a new program, they want something new. They're not, so I was so happy that CDFA says, no, we want to support those who've been doing it for a long time, because we had to overhaul and do a lot of repairs and bring things back to life. So on the one side of the screen there, to me, it's the right, that's the middle school farm. That was built in 2008 by a community effort. Actually, a local employer funded most of it. It was pretty exciting. But over the years, I mean, it just, just fell apart. It was a mess. So under this grant, we redid that hoop house. We got new skin on it. We got new walls. We came in and scraped the whole ground because it had become a field of weeds. We ripped out the old rotted beds because they had made them all out of redwood, which was beautiful at the time, but they didn't hold up. So we have come in and they put base rock and crusher dust down and rolled it on down so we could dig up that ground if we have to, because there are utilities under there, but it's a good weed barrier that we can manage better. And then the gardeners decided to go over to stock tanks. And then we were able to refurbish our deck there, which is a really wonderful gathering place for when you bring classes out there to start the class. The teacher could have, it's big. That'll fit easily a whole. To give you perspective, that hoop house is, over 1,600 square feet. That's literally larger than my house. It's huge. It's a tremendous growing space. So it kind of gives you a bit of scale with the size of that deck as well. And we could fit a lot of kids in there to do that. And that was all funded by this grant. So thank you. Thank you, CDFA. And we have a brand new ag teacher at middle school this year, and she is so excited. She just filled up all those stock tanks with soil and is starting to plant. And so, yeah, so they're just thrilled. And on the left side here, that is our shade house, mostly at the Learning Garden at the high school, which is the program that the Noyo Food Forest manages for us. Now, this building was all kind of a dirt wobbly floor with, weed barrier. It was just a mess. The ceiling was, the roof was full of holes, falling apart, funky old sinks that didn't work. It was really rough. So we came and redid the roof. You put concrete down on the floor. We got tables, we got stools. So it also acts as an outdoor classroom area for the ag teachers or for the Noyo Food Forest to bring students out there, because they also have an educational program. They have a paid educator who works with our kids as well. We got really nice 3-compartment sinks, refrigerators. I mean, all the stuff you need. But two of the most exciting things, I got to tell you, the game changers were those two pieces you see there at the bottom. One of those is a greens bubbler. And this is a handy dandy little tool. That's the two kids on the left there are checking it out before the sinks were installed. They were using a tub to work it. Yes, thank you. And it's just this plate that literally bubbles air and it aerates the lettuce and tosses it around and gets all the dirt off so quickly. It's so efficient. And then you just have a plastic, like a little basket, you pull the lettuce out and you put it into the next piece of equipment. You see our gardener Nick there with another student, and that is a green spinner. And so it's power and it's like, it's done. That lettuce is dry. And they can bag it. And Nick told me it increases production and decrease the amount of labor was absolutely tremendous. I mean, he was able to create, because that was the biggest obstacle. It wasn't really growing the lettuce as much as it was processing lettuce, because it has to come into the kitchens clean. You know, we have to, I mean, obviously we're going to give it another rinse, we're going to give it another wash, but we can't have it in there with slugs and dirt. And as much as we tell the kids that the slugs and all just prove that it's organic, extra protein, you know, they're not buying it. They won't take it. So, so we have to be really careful that it all comes in clean. So that has just made it so much better that we can bring in so much more fresh greens there for school meals. And yeah, so that is most of what we've done. We've also hired a consultant to work with, because we had new teachers. We had new garden teachers and new ag teachers. And we had a garden teacher who's been here since 1990. She was one of the ones who started those gardens and has worked at every one of our farms. She had to take early retirement during COVID because we could not do kids in the garden during COVID. And she was not about to be a Zoom teacher. So we brought her in as a consultant, and it's just been wonderful because we have some really great new enthusiastic teachers who are, you know, they don't have her experience. They don't have the decades of knowledge. And how do you manage a large group of kids in a garden and make sure that they're all engaged and they're all learning and they're not running amok. And also what to plant and when to plant it. And she's worked at every one of these gardens. She worked for the Food Forest for a while. After she retired, she worked for them. She managed that middle school garden and all our elementaries. So she knows every space intimately. And so that was also I think one of the best parts of this grant is to be able to bring her in and impart all that wisdom and experience to these new teachers. And they're really grateful to have it.
Yeah. Thank you, Pilar, for sharing all of this. Amazing. Mm-hmm. We had one quick question in the chat while you were going through that, and it was from John Craig, about it's amazing that all of the schools have a garden. How did that come about?
Oh, okay, good question. Came about by people who really care. It's the first one. It was teachers. Teachers started it at the elementaries. They just really wanted to have it done. So Kay Rex, she's our founding mother. And so they pulled volunteers and parents and other teachers. Rotary, a Rotary Club helped a lot to build the facilities. And then, of course, the other elementary school wanted one too, you know, jealousy. So they did another one at the other one. And again, Rotary helped out. They built a beautiful little cooking classroom that's adjacent to the garden at our Redwood Elementary. It's really nice, very sweet. So those were the two that started. And those are the two I came in on. And then the Noyo Food Forest came to us. Well, they weren't the organization yet. It was 3 young women who wanted to do something to improve their community. And that was in 2006. And they're like, well, what should we do? So they said, well, you know, everyone's got to eat. Let's do something around food. So they wanted to do a community garden and they were looking for land. And so somebody in city council pointed them our direction to the school district. They came and talked to the superintendent and they talked to me. And we had, you just scroll back to the previous slide for just one sec, Nick. The ag department, it's that bottom picture there. That's the learning garden at the high school right now. You see how abundant and beautiful it was. That was nothing but weeds. All the buildings had been dilapidated. It was a field of weeds. The ag department had been shut down for so many years. Nothing was happening with this big space. It was a full acre. So now it's split between half acre to ag, half acre to the food forest. But we're like, okay, you know, the superintendent said, what do you think? I said, well, if they'll grow food for the school meals, I'm 100% behind it. And so they got excited about that. And it was completely started by volunteers, 100% volunteer based. And then our regional occupational program, once it got up and running, was able to fund a full-time teacher for us to do an organic gardening class in there. And the high school kids got credit for it. I wish we still had that. That was a really great thing. So they started growing food and bringing it to the cafeterias, and then the nonprofit just grew from there. And so they have sustained it ever since. But one of the first projects they did as a nonprofit in 2008, I was like, hey, we have a blank here, the middle school. The middle school didn't have anything. So we started looking at that, and we had a special ed teacher who really, really wanted a garden there. So a dad volunteer and me and her kid went out there, and that dad really broke his back trying to dig up some dirt, and we planted some pumpkins. We planted a little pumpkin patch, and the ravens decimated it. It was a complete and utter failure. Well, that dad happened to work for a company called Campbell Timberland Management Company, a local company here. And that following year, it was their silver anniversary, and they're a nationwide organization. So the national office said, hey, we want all of our regional offices to give something back to their community. And we're going to give you all this money to do it. And you're going to pay all your staff to do it. And this was a big employer in our town. So that dad said, hey, the middle school needs a garden. So he convinced them to make that their project. So their entire workforce came out, and where we had tried to plant a pumpkin patch, they turned it into this beautiful garden with that big hoop house, all the beds and the deck and everything else. And for many years, they came back every year and helped us maintain it. They'd restain all the wood and everything. Unfortunately, our local office is now shut down, and that's why I ended up often falling to disrepair. And now the grant has got us back up and running again. So that's it, basically.
Oh my gosh. Well, Pilar, thank you for sharing it. There's lots of great things in the chat for you to read too. Gina was sharing about growing up in Fort Bragg and how amazed she is to see all this stuff. And it's so amazing that to hear the ways that you've gone through all the different funding. Okay, we have this program. Okay, let's build it now. Okay, we have this parent. All right, we have some momentum. What's the next opportunity? And so often I think, at least for me, I always go, all right, here's the plan. Let's go do the plan. Okay, now let's keep the plan. And I think this story, it just shows how much you have to evolve and roll with it and roll with the passion and the energy. And we're so, so grateful to have had this funding that can help bring new life to these things and give the next generation another opportunity. So thank you for presenting, and stay on as we keep going through our next presenters, so that if there's more questions, we can do them at the end.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. And the next presenter we have is Lance Billingsley. We pulled Lance straight out of his gardening class. He said he had to get ready, get locked in, wipe the sunscreen off, get ready. Yeah, Lance.
Hey, hey, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
What, like a
I basically just ran straight here from the class. I'm like, I got sunscreen on my face, I got to clean up, but I forgot how cool here everyone is. And it's just like, yeah, I'm with my people on this call. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So my name is Lance Billingsley. I'm working out of Oceanside Unified, and I'm the lead educator contact point for the Farm to School grant. And my background is in education. I'm a teacher, but this is totally my passion. This is my space, without a doubt. And so there's a couple of slides here just showing what we're doing at the moment. And there's a lot of neat things going on. So please ask questions if you have any too. And I'll just give you a little overview of what we do. So we're down here in Oceanside Unified. That's North County, San Diego. And I'm working at 2 focus school sites right now. And I say focus sites because our district has multiple gardens, or many school sites with gardens, but a lot of them are kind of dilapidated. And I think there's a lot of feelings of apprehension around reinvigorating them again. And so I'm kind of like this liaison person where I'm trying to get everyone pumped up and getting them going again, just to be totally honest, and it's not easy always, which is funny. At first I was like, oh, this is going to be so easy and such an easy sell for all the teachers and school sites. And it doesn't quite work that way. So the way I'm approaching it is like, we're just making these spaces beautiful, productive. And now teachers are just finding their way into the gardens and asking, hey, can we have a garden bed? How can we do this? And so we're kind of naturally transitioning from myself leading all the classes one-on-one every week to students, to I'm starting to train teachers, and they're starting to take over their own garden bed spaces, which is a lot of fun. It's so cool to see. And not everyone sees it or notices it, but I know I'm seeing it. I'm like, yes, this is it. And I can't believe we're in quarter 3 or finishing up quarter 3 of the grant already. So Just a big shout out to CDFA for having me here and to everyone for being on this call. So it's a special place for sure. This is two school gardens. And then in the middle there, there's a photo of just recently we linked up with the UC Master Gardeners. We have a soil scientist that comes out and teaches some guest lessons. That's pretty fun. I think coming up, we'll have a consistent contact from UC Master Gardener that comes to one of our sites, and hopefully more of that in the future. Let's see here, a couple nice harvests, and really just building these garden spaces back up with the students and doing all the irrigation, everything. I know, Nick, you mentioned that you used to be a farm garden teacher as well. It's like you just get your hands dirty. You're just out there doing all of the stuff too. And then, these pictures, there's a lot more to them, but everyone here knows that. So you can go to the next slide. So one of the parts of the grant is actually we're distributing lettuces consistently every single week. We have this greenhouse that had kind of fallen apart, and so we reinvigorated the space, got it up and running again, and we're producing something around 150 heads of lettuce every single week. 30 of those go straight to the school site where the greenhouse is located, and the other 120 or so get picked up by the district and distributed to different school sites throughout the district. And they go to every school site at least once throughout the year, which is pretty fun. And I don't know, one of the neat parts about that is like you just have the connect. Students are making the connection now. They're like, wait, Mr. B, I guess that's what I go by, Mr. B. So this is the same lettuce that's at our salad bar. Like they're blown away, and it's just kind of like what Pilar mentioned. That's like they're just totally willing to trade in their junk food for everything we grow in the garden at that moment, and they're so pumped up to eat the lettuces that they're a part of. So they're part of this whole process. This is an elementary school site where the greenhouse is located. So it's pretty fun. And there's little setbacks, but it's all very doable. Greenhouse spaces are just so well controlled. So it's a really nice piece to this grant, and we're continuing to pump out a ton of lettuce, which is fun. So it's great to be a part of it. So yeah, you can go ahead and head on to the next slide. Thanks. And the last part, really excited about this, the Charlie cart. It's this like kind of all-encompassing cart that has all these different cooking tools, including like induction burner and a blender. And this is a new space for me. I love to cook, but running cooking classes is totally new. And again, my whole approach is I want the teachers to notice it and then want to come get involved. So I'm just starting to use this monthly with my students at one of the focus sites right now, and they love it. You print out a lesson, and the most recent was like apple chutney, applesauce. Our garden is full of ripe apples, and so we cut them up together. We follow the recipe. We cook them, add a little bit of sugar and cinnamon, all this great stuff, and then we cook it together, and they sample it all within about a 40-minute class session, and it's a ton of fun. And it's totally like it's the thing. And it would be amazing to just keep doing more and more of this. I guess what I really believe in is no one thinks students are, technologically illiterate, but we want to get them more connected to food. There's no doubt about that. So having more time and space cooking and being out in the garden is what it's all about. So yeah, it's really nice to get to share this with everyone and share this with our district too. So thanks for having me. Let me know if you have questions too. And yeah.
Yes, thank you, Lance. We do have a couple questions. I mean, first, there's a definite Charlie Cart fan club happening in the chat.
Nice.
You are amazing, Carolyn and the team. And if someone could throw the Charlie Cart website in there, we can make sure that it goes into the notes from the call too. And then we had a question as well. One question about the Master Gardeners. And how did that partnership actually come about? Did the Master Gardeners reach out to you, a volunteer looking to fulfill hours? Did you do an outreach? How'd that happen?
It was kind of a combo of both on their website. Maybe we can link that on there. I can put it in there in a minute. You can actually just sign up. There's like a Google Sheet you can sign up for a designated person to contact you, and they'll come out to your site. And I think it's a little bit of matchmaking because they want to have a master gardener that's in your area that's more easily able to access the school site where you're at. So I signed up. It takes 2 seconds online, and then there was recently what was it? There was a UC Master Gardener meetup. It was an event that they held in San Diego, and so I was a part. I went down to that too. It was kind of like a professional development, but you can just sign up online, and I know they're readily available here in San Diego, and hopefully they are in other parts of California as well.
Yay, we have some folks in the chat sharing that they do it. Did you have to interview your Master Gardener volunteer? Did you run through any Master Gardeners? Because I've also heard
Whoa.
that story, and you're like,
Okay.
oh, they just want to garden. This one was working with kids. You
Oh,
know,
that's interesting. No, I haven't yet,
okay,
but I'm just at the point where one is connected and they're coming out. So I'll let you know.
okay.
I might be doing that interview. We'll find out.
Okay, sometimes it can help. Sometimes it can help.
That's
Okay, and then
yeah,
I have
nice.
two other ones. One of them was on from Melanie. What tables are you using in the greenhouse?
Those are American hydroponics. So AM Hydro, and I think they're how many sites per table? It's what is it? 160, I think, per table, 160 sites. Yeah. And they're just like clockwork, really easy. And we don't even have like an RO system or anything spectacular for water. We just use tap water in there and some organic nutrient and keep it really clean. And that's it. It's a 7 week turnaround, 6 to 7 weeks from seed to harvest. And
Love,
yeah, really consistent, nice stuff. So
love. Okay, I almost just read Jen's joke from the chat as a question. Okay, and then there's just lots of great photos. Dre, thank you so much for sharing those photos. Um, and Yumang, thank you. Hi, Yumang, for sharing the Master Gardener webpage too in the chat. And then Tammy put a link. Lance, if you could look in the chat and confirm that that is the correct AM Hydro.
sounds good. Will do.
Okay, so you can follow up on that one. And it's just so awesome. So many great things. And there was one other question on food handling for the Charlie Cart from Tammy. Are you required to have a food handler's license to produce recipes from the Charlie Cart? I would imagine it just depends on the situation you're using it in.
Yeah, and my district recommended it, so I attended a training on it, and I did the full day training for food handling. So it's probably nice just to have it as a backup, but yeah, it's not a requirement to have the Charlie cart and use it, but it's something that's probably ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So many great resources and ideas and things happening in gardens. And I think from people every time about rolling with it and evolving. And Lance, it's like sometimes a grant or a new person can bring new energy to the project. So thank you for doing that and coordinating all these resources and being willing to try new stuff with the kids. And I think if you're in a district and you're on this call, as some of us have experience with, where you're like banging on the door, I have resources. Look, the master gardeners can do this. Look, I could build this garden. I'm the parent or I'm the school garden org that wants to make this work. It is possible. And sometimes it's a grant that just opens the door to the conversation. But let our regional staff know if you are in that situation. We can do our best to try to show that these programs can happen and they can work. And people have worked through a lot of the problems. So, yay. Thanks for sharing all of that, Lance.
thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
yay. Okay. All right. And then our next presenter, we have Melanie Cross. Melanie, can you come on? I saw you in the chat, you asking questions. Thank you. You come on and talk us through your organization and the work that you're doing on Farm to School.
Yes, I'm very proud of my slide because of this kid.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I work for the Del Norte and Tribal Lands Community Food Council. It's hard for me to say Del Norte because I have to say it in English and my brain wants to say it in Spanish. We are at the very end of California at bordering Oregon. This is a very small community and it's considered a food desert. I'm assuming all of you know what that is, but in case that you don't, it's when a grocery store or place where you can buy food is way too far from home and you have to drive 30 minutes to get something to eat, 40 minutes, depends on where are you in the community. Our mission is to strengthen our local food system to support a healthy and resilient North Coast community. That's how we started in 2010. We became part of the Family Resource Center in 2016. There we focus on nutrition and security access to a healthier food system through education and events, food policy, and building our local food economy. I'm reading this because this belongs to the organization. I'm going to be very precise on that. And during this time, we opened a food forest where the community could come and harvest food for the community. we helped create the Pacific Pantry with the how is it called? There was one before us, which I cannot remember the name. We were the second one in the region. And with that, we built the mobile market so we could access the community, because it makes no sense to keep having food far away from these people. So they created the mobile market where we brought the food to the different communities in a very beautiful way. This is the first reason why I really love this organization. They brought dignity back into the action of giving food. So they don't give you a bag that you don't know what is in that bag and you don't know if you're going to cook it. And some people like to eat organic, or they don't eat meat, or they don't know how to cook certain things. So there's a menu. You show up, you choose what you want, and you have certain amount of items depending how many people are in your family, and that's what you take home. So it is like going to buy food, but you do it for free. You choose what you want. Then our organization became too big for the Family Resource Center. So around 2023, we separated and became our own organization on a terrible time, because a few months later, suddenly all our funds are in danger, and we just became independent. So it was very hard. Let's go to the next picture, please. This is my work. These are my workers. I'm showing you this picture because I love them all. There's a new one. One of them is gone, but basically this is the core. And we're all focused on education and training, increasing local food production, and providing a regional supply chain support for our community. So that's our goal. Okay, next one. I'm gonna try to be quick so I don't use all the time. Here shows the community a little bit. So we have 8% of kids who have been suspended at least one day in the school year. This is it from 2024. We have a 28% of chronic absentee in our schools. We have 53% below standards in English, and we have 87% below standards in math. So obviously our school system is not working as good as it could. Next slide. And that's why KPN came in the picture. It's been here for like 10 years. KPN is Climate Promise Neighborhood, and it's a grant that came into the community in Del Norte County, and they are funding organizations that are already very functional. And it's creating a regional web where we all start seeing our faces and know who we are and what we're doing for the community, and made this organizations absolutely functional and coordinated. So when that happened is when they created this tiny little position, which was mine, and they decided to give $1,000 a year to activate 7 school gardens within the district, and pay me to do that. It was intense and beautiful. I was able to, because I'm not originally, obviously, from this area. I was born in this country, and I grew up in Chile, came back, and I was also not from this specific area when I came back. So I was an outsider. And what I did, and I think this is something that can help a lot of people, is I listen. I talked to people. I saw maintenance department walking around, and I went and talked to them, because there was resistance between the districts and some schools. Other schools were open and they wanted us to be there. Other schools were like, we don't want to work with this. We already did it before with outside organizations that come, drop the money and take off, and leave things half built. So I made a commitment to myself that anything I did was going to be ready by the time I was leaving my position. And that's one beautiful thing of working with grants. You have 2 years. So I fixed the relationships with the district. I basically patiently expanded my work. I went and asked, I talked, I didn't judge anybody. I wanted to know what was happening and why it was happening. I was able to find the people who built certain gardens and brought them back into the space. And now they're helping me rebuild those gardens. Next slide. Because then we got the farm to school incubator. So now I went from a budget of $1,000 to everything I need to rebuild these gardens. This is 2 years after I start working with them. And I present the project again to everybody, this time with a structure that it was, how do you say that? It was, it's being what's the word, supported by money, unfortunately, but that's in all the thoughts that we had. We presented the grant, we told them how much money was involved. I also told them this is a 2-year project, which made everybody happy, because I'm saying I want to make myself dispensable. I want to be able to leave and you can push this program on your own. So suddenly I went from having 4 schools to 7 schools. They all say yes. We chose these 7 schools because they are the ones who have the worst outcome in absentee in all the standards. They're way below than the other schools. And that's why we targeted these 7 schools. They're all in. I'm working with all of them. Next slide, please. So what we're doing with the Farm to School incubator program, grant, we're providing assistance. So we switch from doing the classes, which is something that, what was our previous commentator, Lance? Yeah, that Lance mentioned. We have to not be the educators anymore. We need to train the teachers to do this job on their own. So I wanted to ask Lance, if you could please at the end mention, give me more input about this. So what we're doing is we are giving a certain amount of garden beds to each one of our teachers that are involved with the program. And we want them to start using this space and bring their kids on their own after we built everything for them. So my idea is that the infrastructure is giving and they have all the tools that they need. I also want to have a mobile kitchen, but we're going to build them ourselves. So if there's anything that, Lance, you think that we shouldn't totally have in that mobile kitchen, please let me know. We are, I don't know how this happened. I don't know if I'm extremely lucky, which I've always been in my life, but I got the district to like this project so much that they are thinking, and possibly it's going to happen, on hiring 2 school garden coordinators. So my proposal was that we train them and they work with the external learning program. So after school, that way the teachers have this space maintained by the external learning program and they don't have to do the hard work. They just bring the students to use that space. And the district loved the idea. So that's a good possibility. And then obviously, we want to put a lot of gopher wire in all of my garden beds and restructure all of those garden beds. We're doing it with the students so they learn how to do that too. And by the end of next summer, I want to have as much vegetables as possible in our cafeteria for them to, because we have one cafeteria that distributes the food to the rest of the county. So for them at Crescent Elk to have all that food available to distribute through the county, grown by the students. Okay, next slide. So as I said before, in we redid what we've done before. We ask again what the needs are on each one of the spaces, especially because we have 3 new schools. We are, I already created all the beautiful connections through kindness and humble reaction to everybody, to have them involved in each one of the school gardens, and they're already super excited. We have the budget for each one of them, and we have the solid volunteer and teacher team to work in this space. My idea, if you have 2 teachers that are thriving in the garden, 3 or 4 more are gonna come and use this space too. So little by little, they can support each other, and I'll try to work on that once the grant is not around. Okay, next slide. Garden-based education, Nick mentioned some of them. We are, we want to have not just the students, but also the teachers in the garden. So we bring them with us. That's always the case. We are doing cooking classes in whatever space we can find in the schools. That's why we want to have the mobile kitchen. And the curriculum that we're using, we have Nutrition to Grow On from the California Department of Education that is a little bit outdated, but you can, if you read it beforehand, it's well accepted because it's created by the Department of Education. We have, we have Life Lab, the Growing Classroom. We have the School Garden Curriculum, which goes through seasons, and other books like How to Grow a School Garden, and the Junior Master Gardener program that requires 2 4-H leaders, but you get them certified as Junior Master Gardeners, which I think is gonna blow their mind. So I'm trying this with ELOP, and then I'm trying it also with some teachers and see how it goes through. Okay, next one. And our goals are keep changing eating habits. We do this very respectfully. I cannot tell you, oh my God, sugar is so bad for you, or try to eat less fried food or McDonald's, because our community is poor. I cannot say, tell your parents to cook this, because they most likely don't have parents, are in foster care, or are being raised by a grandma or grandpa or whatever. So you talk about caregivers, and you never shame them for what they're eating. That's super important. And we want to switch their brains a little bit, and for them to know what a vegetable is. I'm not aiming for them to eat them at home, because the parents are going to make certain decisions, and I'm not going to fight that. But if in certain space I can give you food and you cook it and you try it, and this is going to make me cry again, in the future you will choose to eat a vegetable. And that's what I'm trying to do, is I want them to know that that's part of, I want it to be part of their brain information, not just, oh, vegetables are good. I don't know. Their brain is going to choose that vegetable because it already knows that it's good for you. So that's my goal in their life. Also, I want them to learn how to grow food. I think that's very important, especially now. Sustainability, garden-based curriculum, close collaboration with the school district. And as I said before, I want to make my role dispensable. And I want to farm to school. I want to have food for my school district. And then the last slide, we have like a minute. Thank you. You guys have made an amazing difference in our little tiny project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melanie, for sharing all of that. And folks, I put it in the chat, but if you have to hop off right at 3, please just, we're going to send everything over. But if folks have questions for Melanie, we can do them here. I think for me, it's just inspiring. We see what it's like from inside the facility with Pilar and Nutrition Services, to Lance coming in with the grant funding. And then Melanie, the way you've had to build partnerships and successfully built those partnerships, that can be the hardest part, but it's possible. And we're really, really grateful to have you in the network and supporting the work. So thank you. Love it. And we'll make sure you and Lance are connected as well. And folks, just put your questions in the chat and we can go through them that way. Yes, thank you. Okay, so then to close it out, we have some additional resources we want to make sure everybody sees. Some of these are time sensitive, some of them are not. The first one is just that the USDA Farm to School grant, although the government is not currently operating, the grant link and everything is still up there. So encourage you, if you are still interested in it, to follow the links, follow it as much as you can. And if you're interested in partnering with CDFA, please reach out to us to explore that opportunity. The National Farm to School Network Farm to Cafeteria Conference is happening in December. So there's a link to that for folks that are interested in registering and joining. It should be a very fun time. We are on a state out-of-state travel ban, not ban, out-of-state travel freeze due to the budget questions. So we're not able to go as a state agency, but we hope there's a huge California contingent and cohort to show all the amazing things that are happening. I mean, we had Oceanside to Del Norte today, literally all across. So thank you. And then 2 important surveys that we would love people to respond to and give feedback on is the Center for Eco Literacy has their annual survey and a KIT survey. And so both of these links are going to go out to everybody. Abby, I think Rachel might have put those in the chat, but oh no, Abby did. Thank you, Abby, who put live links in the chat for folks to utilize. Abby, I tried to put your slides in, but they were Google slides and the state doesn't let me open. So shout out safety. Okay, and then resources and opportunities, a couple other grants here. The Western Sustainable Ag Research and Education grants are due in November. So that's just their general grants webpage. You can take a look at that. There's a bunch of options on there. And then there's another one, the Western Extension Risk Management Education Center, which is through Washington State University, also has a grant available. And then of course, to all of our partners, Abby just modeled this, but I know that the Foundation for Ag in the Classroom, Mandy was on earlier. We have so many good partners on the call today. If you guys have links that you'd like to share for us to distribute to everybody, or if you're an organization that maybe has an upcoming event and you want to make sure it goes out to our broader network, we're going to send the links, resources, and recordings to everybody who registered today. It's like almost 300 people. So happy to share all of that information out. And then the last 2 things that we share each call is the Kids Gardening newsletter that has updated grant opportunities, and the This Week in Farm to School newsletter from the National Farm to School Network. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. Has jobs, has resources, all sorts of good stuff. Research, lots and lots of cool opportunities. I think that's it for the big stuff. Oh, and lastly, if you haven't already, please, we really encourage you to reach out to your Farm to School Network staff. Oh, there's one issue on here I'll update on the slides. Lizzie Elliott, unfortunately, if you guys didn't know already, our Bay Area Network lead has moved to a new role with Permanent Ag, so she stayed in the regenerative ag space, but has a new role. So we'll update that on this slide. But if you haven't already, please introduce yourself to your regional staff and see how we can support you. Jen and Mike and Mireille are all on the call today. Jen and Michael and Mireille are all on the call today, really promoting these great opportunities and resources. Okay, last thing, I know a lot of folks have already had to hop off, but a last thing we'd love to share is that our next call is November 20th. I was like, isn't that Thanksgiving? No, Thanksgiving's the 27th this year. I don't know why it's so late, but that's Thanksgiving. So our call is November 20th. Our newsletter is in the chat. So if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, we try to send one a month. And then lastly, former teacher brain here, an exit ticket for all of you. We are celebrating Farm to School Month this time, this year. We want to know, how will you celebrate next year's Farm to School Month? The programs keep growing and growing. There's so many great opportunities. Would love to hear how you're going to share it. And then we'll see you next month. Hi, Amber. Hi, my friend. A feast. Yes, please. Thank you, Melanie, and thank you for presenting today. Thank you to Melanie and Lance and Pilar for presenting. We're so grateful for you guys. Okay, other folks. Taylor, our new ECE Center opened. All right, another crunch site. Congrats, Taylor. See you next month. Thank you.